The crash. The sky of HFY burned crimson the night the ship fell. Locals thought it was another meteor storm until the wreckage hit the northern plateau. What the scavengers found wasn't a meteor. It was a Terran shuttle, crushed, broken, and bleeding smoke. Inside, there was one survivor. A human, small, battered, and barely breathing. The Tureshi had heard of humans, of course. Everyone in the galaxy had. Deathworlders. Dangerous, unpredictable, emotional. They were the kind of species you didn't approach unless you had to. But the chief healer, Van Auai, looked at the unconscious human and said, "He's just a child. We will not let him die." That decision changed the galaxy. The rescue. They named him Eli Carter, and over the next few weeks, the Tirashi nursed him back to health. He was strange to them. His body temperature too high, his bones too dense, his laughter too loud. He cried at the sight of their sunsets and thanked them for water like it was a miracle. When Van Eye asked him about home, he said, "Home isn't a place. It's people." The Tirashi didn't understand then. They would, because humans don't forget kindness. And they never abandoned those who showed it first. The signal. 3 months after the crash, a faint distress beacon from the wreckage finally reached Terran Space Command. One word pulsed through the static. Survivor. Within hours, a recovery fleet launched. Not a patrol ship, not a rescue shuttle, an entire armada. When humanity searches for its own, it doesn't send help, it sends everything. The arrival. On the 92nd day after the crash, the sky above Tyresh-IV lit up again. But this time, it wasn't a falling ship. It was hundreds of them. Terran destroyers, hospital cruisers, diplomatic frigates, each bearing the emblem of the Terran Union. The Tirashi panicked. They had no weapons capable of challenging even one of those ships, let alone all of them. But then a voice echoed through their comm channels. "This is Admiral Reyes of the Terran Union. We come for our lost child, and to thank those who saved him." The Tirashi wept. No fleet had ever arrived in peace. The meeting. The humans landed outside the capital city, towering ships lowering quietly into the fields. Soldiers in white armor stepped out, followed by medics, engineers, and one woman wearing no insignia except a simple silver pendant. She introduced herself as Captain Aisha Patel, liaison to the Tirashi people. Van Eye bowed. "You came for one boy." Aisha smiled softly. "We came for every one of them, even if it was only one." The Tirashi didn't understand the weight of her words until later. The debt. Humanity rebuilt the crash site themselves. They constructed hospitals, comm relays, and weather shields. They didn't ask for payment. They didn't negotiate treaties. When asked why, Captain Patel simply said, "Because you saved one of ours. That makes you family." Within months, Tyresh-IV became the most protected world in the sector. Pirates avoided it. Traders flocked to it. And every year, Terran ships returned, not for business, but to visit. The Council's reaction. The Galactic Council was not pleased. Humans had interfered in non-council affairs. They had deployed warships into neutral space without authorization. An emergency session was called. Ambassador Kovacs, humanity's representative, stood before the council and listened to their outrage. "You violated territorial protocols. You disrupted trade balance. You overstepped your authority." Kovacs waited for silence, then said quietly, "We responded to a distress call from a child. If you think bureaucracy outranks compassion, perhaps you need to rewrite your priorities." The whole went silent. The attack. Months later, a pirate faction decided that Tyresh-IV prosperity made it easy prey. They struck during the night cycle, assuming the humans were gone. They were wrong. Terran drones appeared before the first explosion hit the atmosphere. Orbital defense platforms lit up the sky. Within minutes, the pirates were vaporized. The next day, Captain Patel addressed the Tirashi leaders. You saved one of us. We will not let anyone harm you. Ever. The Tirashi elders renamed the northern plateau where Eli had crashed Carter's Landing. The promise. When Eli recovered, he asked to stay. They are my friends, he said. I owe them my life. The Terrans agreed, but not before placing a permanent defense garrison around the system. Every ship entering Tirashi space now carried a single message on its navigational beacon. Protected territory, humanity's friends. It became both a blessing and a warning. No one disobeyed. The legacy. Years passed. Tirashi IV flourished. Trade routes reopened, and schools taught Terran languages alongside their own. When asked why humans had gone to such lengths for one boy, Captain Patel answered, because that's what humanity is. We repay kindness with everything we have. And she was right. The lesson. The story of Tirashi IV spread across the galaxy. Other species began treating lost humans with extraordinary care, not out of fear, but respect, because they understood what the Council hadn't. Saving a human doesn't earn you a debt. It earns you a family. And attacking one? That's a declaration of extinction. The return. Years later, on the anniversary of his rescue, Eli Carter stood on the same plateau where he'd nearly died. He looked up at the night sky, filled with Terran ships watching silently above. He smiled and whispered, You really did come back for me. A voice came through his comlink. Captain Patel, older now, but still fierce. We said we would. Kid, that's what humans do. We come back. And for the first time in centuries, the galaxy finally understood what that meant.